Hey, welcome back, everybody. And we're in the midst over here of the book of Joshua, chapter 1. We left off over here talking about the greatness of the land of Eretz Yisrael. The text over here in the fifth sentence tells us, "No man shall stand up to you during the days of your life. As I was with Moshe, so I will be with you. Be strong and courageous, for you will cause this nation to inherit the land that I have sworn to your ancestors. Just be strong and very courageous, to observe the commandments of all the Torah that Moshe your servant has commanded you. Do not stray from it right or left, in order and wherever you go. The book of the Torah shall not leave your mouth. You shall meditate upon it day and night, in order that you observe all that is written in it, and you will succeed in your ways. Did I not command you to be strong and courageous?" We see from over here that in spite of the fact that a new chapter now is coming in for the Jewish people, a chapter of leaving the Beit Midrash, so to speak, the house of study, which they have been involved over for the last 40 years, where all their needs were taken care of, and their panasa and their materialistic items were all given to them, food, clothing, everything. They were able to sit and meditate on the Torah day and night without any worries, without any concerns. Now they have to come into the land of Eretz Yisrael. Now is the time for them to put all that aside and to pick up the sword and to fight against these mighty nations that live over here. But in spite of that fact that now they will be involved with warfare, obviously taking them away from their spiritual search, God is still commanding Joshua to tell the Jewish people to set aside times for Torah learning. In spite of everything, there's always some time that you have to sit and learn. This should be with you wherever you go, day and night. In our daily lives today, when people go out to work, they're busy, they leave the house early, they come back late at night, all their thoughts are about work, how to make money, how to support their families, etc. In spite of that fact that they're troubled by that continuously, the Torah commands us to sit and to set certain times for our learning. Whether it's an hour a week, whether it's an hour a day, whatever it is, but a person sets aside particular times for him to sit and learn. We continue to hold on to the Torah in spite of all of other activities that we're doing over here. So too Yoshua was commanded that in spite of the fact that they are now going out to war and they will be busy with other things of settling the land, etc., they are still to hold on to the blueprint of what this world is supposed to be, the blueprint to show us the way of life and what we're supposed to do. Hold on to the study of the Torah in spite of the fact that we're busy with other things. Be strong and courageous is a theme that continues to go back over here time and time again. I believe in this first chapter it's at least 3 or 4 times that it's mentioned to Yoshua, and it's obvious that a person who has self-confidence, who knows what he's battling against, doesn't really need to be to be patted on the back all the time and be told, be strong and courageous. It's obviously someone who needs this encouragement to be told continuously, hey buddy, strengthen yourself over here now, be strong and courageous. And this is the message that's given over to Yoshua, because Yoshua, as opposed to Moshe Rabbeinu, our rabbis teach us, was like the sun. The sun. Yoshua is like the moon. So despite the fact that he's not on the same level as Moshe, because none of the prophets were on that level of Moshe Rabbeinu, still, in spite of this fact, we have to strengthen ourselves. We have to strengthen Yoshua over here. Chazak v'yamatz, be courageous over here. Yeshua goes and commands the officers of the nations and goes throughout the camp and tells the people, prepare themselves. What is this preparation? Rashi teaches us the preparation to weapons of war, to gather the weapons of war. I mean, up until this time, this is not something that they were carrying around during the time of the desert. But now that we're entering into the land of Eretz Yisrael, it's time to leave the koilels. It's time to leave the base midrash. It's time to move on, to get your weapons of war, to prepare it, to oil it, the best weapons that you have at your to go out and to do battle against these mighty nations over here. So to prepare your weapons, it's good to say Tehillim, very good. It's good to pray, but now is the time to prepare your weapons, your physical weapons, and to go out and to conquer the land of Eretz Yisrael. So Yeshua tells them that you prepare yourselves, and in another 3 days you will cross over the Jordan in order to inherit the land that the Lord your God is giving you to inherit. Now this 3-day period over here, we've seen, is a change, an historical change of events that's going to take place over here. We find the same theme that comes over a few times. For instance, Avram Avinu is commanded to sacrifice his son, Isaac, on Har Moriah, the Temple Mount. And he is told that in 3 days you will go out, and in 3 days' journey you will go and to sacrifice your son. Now that was an historical change in the entire world, because up until this point, the prosecutors, the accusers, would rise before God and says, "Why have you chosen the Jewish people? Why have you chosen Abraham as opposed to all the other nations in the world? What's special about them?" And now with this plan over here that Avraham Avinu listened to God's commandment and was willing to take his own son Isaac to the Temple Mount and to offer him as a sacrifice, now God will, so to speak, have an answer against these nations over here and say to them, "Hey, Avraham listened to my commandments. That's why I chose the Jewish people. That's why I chose his descendants. That's what's so special about them, that they were willing to give up everything for my great honor." That was a life changer. That was a game changer. Next, we see that when the Jewish people were about to receive the Torah, obviously another big game changer, to get the laws of God and the way, the blueprint and the way that we have to act and continue with our lives. We were given a 3-day preparation to prepare ourselves 3 days before receiving the Torah. Here too, in Joshua's time, as this is a game changer, that the Jewish people are entering into the land where they are promised, and the only place that they could flourish and fulfill the godly mission that they have to do in this world, they are given 3 days of preparation. At this point, Joshua commands the 2 tribes of Israel who wanted to stay on the eastern banks of the land of Eretz Israel, Reuven and Gad, and he tells them so forth that remember the words of Moshe your servant, what he has commanded you. That what did he command him? Moshe commanded them that they would leave their children, their cattle, on the eastern side, and the warriors would go out to war and lead the Jewish people to victory in conquering the land of Eretz Israel. That was the condition that they would be able to settle on the eastern bank. If they were not able to do that condition, if they did not want to do it, they would not receive that part. So of course they answer and say everything that they answered Joshua, saying, "All that you have commanded us we shall do, and wherever you send us we shall go. Just as we obeyed Moshe in everything, we shall obey you, only that the Lord your God shall be with you as he was with Moshe. Every man who shall rebel against your words and will not listen to your commands will be put to death. Only be strong and have courage." Once again, we see that theme to strengthen Joshua, strong and have courage. They, of course, are willing to take the task, willing to answer the call, willing to put their men on the front in the battle against for the land of Eretz Israel. Not only that, but even more than that. Not only did they go and they were the tribes in the front lines who were out there for the wars in conquering the land, but they even stayed longer than they had to. For instance, the wars of conquering the land of Eretz Israel took 7 years. It was a 7-year war. But they did not even leave after that period of time. They stayed for the 7 years of the division of the land of Eretz Israel to make sure that each family was in its proper spot. Only after 14 years of being in the land, in the western side of the land of Eretz Israel, did they go back to their families, their women and their children and their cattle on the eastern banks of Eretz Israel. So they went beyond the letter of the law, which was required to them. And they tell Joshua over here that if there's anyone who wants to rebel against you, they will be put to death. We find over here, Rav Kahana brings out this theme in his great book, The Jewish Idea. And he teaches us from the Gemara in Sanhedrin, whoever rebels against your commandment and does not hearken to your words, the sentence that we just read from the book of Joshua, I might think that this is applied even to the Torah. Who, if you are commanded to violate the Torah, it therefore says, be strong and have good courage. Meaning that if a leader, a king, even a king, if a government commands you in the framework of Torah, in the framework of what's rational and what has to be done, fine, you have to listen to them. But if they're commanding you a command to go against what's written down in the Torah, be strong and have courage not to listen to them. And this is what's brought down over here in the Rambam. The Rambam writes, whoever violates a royal decree because he is busy with a mitzvah, even a light mitzvah, is exempt from punishment. It goes without saying that if the king decreed a mitzvah to be violated, we do not heed him. We do not listen to him. Lo shomim lo. We don't listen to him. And this is an important concept over here that ends over here, chapter 1 of the book of Yeshua. And that is that even if you have a king, a Jewish king, a figure, a leader, a government, and they tell you not to fulfill a certain commandment or to go against something that's written down in the Torah. For instance, the government may go against, for instance, giving back land, saying we have to give back land. Lo shomim lo. The halacha over here is clear. Be strong and have courage, because in spite of the fact that this might be a king of basar v'dam, he may be a king of flesh and blood, still we have to listen to the King of Kings, the one who created us all, God Almighty. On that note, we conclude chapter 1. Thanks for being with us. We'll catch you next time. Levi Chazan, and you're not, from Yerushalayim.